Hello my friends, in this video I'm gonna talk about Sadako Yamamura. Here's a fun fact, for a long time I thought that Sadako is innocent and a really beautiful girl, until one day my friend told me that Sadako has got a penis. Yep, that's right, he told me that Sadako has a penis, and I was like, what the fuck, no way. And, well, here it is, guys. Take a look. She has the genitalia, what the fuck is this word? Genitalia of both sexes. So technically Sadako is one of those lady boys from Thailand. Which is alright because it's 21st century, but in this video I want to talk about why, in my opinion, Sadako is a weak killer. Most people that I know agree with me that Sadako is not a good killer, but I know that some of you will disagree, and it's perfectly fine. Don't worry, if you think that Sadako is a strong killer, you don't need to get a brain surgery, because you might be correct, because this is a very controversial topic. Not to mention that some people play this killer better than others, and I'm a terrible Sadako player, but that doesn't count as the reason for why I think this killer is actually weak, and I will explain why I think that this killer is weak exactly in this video. I don't think that Sadako is the weakest killer in the game. I know quite a few YouTube content creators who will say that Sadako is the weakest killer in Dead by Daylight. Some of them say that Sadako is weaker than the Trapper, but I would put Sadako on the C tier. By the way, my previous video was a killer tier list and I ranked Sadako as a C tier killer. But let me explain why I think that Sadako is not a strong killer. But before that, if you are a normal person, then don't forget to subscribe, or else you are not normal no matter what you say. So don't be stupid and subscribe to Boy Dilly. So first of all, I got to say that I love Sadako as a character. I've seen The Ring and Ringu. In fact, I've seen those movies multiple times and I think they are unique as fuck. And when Sadako was announced to be coming to Dead by Daylight, I was like, woohoo, I was so hyped about it. But ever since this killer came out, there have been plenty of problems. For example, Sadako has no anti-loop. And this killer is kind of stealthy, but not really. We got better stealth killers in the game because you flicker too much with Sadako and you have an obvious lullaby. So technically you can be thinking, oh, I'm very stealthy, I'm very sneaky, but you are not. Survivors can clearly see where you are. And the map pressure that Sadako got, yes, this killer has got some map pressure because there are TVs scattered all around the map. I could argue that this is kind of an RNG mechanic because you will never know where your TVs are gonna spawn, but the map pressure that this killer got is outclassed by so many other killers, Dredge in particular. And Dredge came out straight up after this killer, and it feels like a massive insult actually, because Dredge has a better map pressure than Sadako. Sadako's TVs feel like a punishment since the cooldowns are too long. Also, the survivors can just straight up turn them off. Sadako has this condemned mechanic which in theory sounds extremely scary and powerful, but in practice against good survivors most of the time it's pretty useless because it will take like forever to condemn those survivors. The good thing about Sadako's condemned mechanic is that this thing opens new and unique possibilities for this killer. For example, Sadako has got a unique gameplay style playstyle, and probably almost every single Sadako main player is playing by this style. The point of this playstyle is not to hit survivors. You don't need to hook survivors. The point of this playstyle is to teleport to as many TVs as possible and inflict as much of condemned status on survivors as possible, and then kill them with your hands. It's actually a really fun playstyle, especially if you got the right build. If you have never tried this playstyle, then try it out, because you will probably fall in love with Sadako after playing with this playstyle. Just get into a match and try to teleport to as many TVs as possible, and forget about hooking survivors. You don't need to think about that. The point of this playstyle is to kill survivors with your hands after condemning them. Even though it's very fun to play by doing this and it makes Sadako stronger, literally this entire playstyle makes her a C-tier killer in my opinion. It makes her better than the Trapper, Freddy, and School Merchant in my opinion. But you know, it's very controversial. This playstyle doesn't always work, especially if you get to play against Survivor Friends teams or better survivors. You know, in Dead by Daylight MMR is not always fair, and if survivors are good, they will collect as many tapes as possible and they will insert them into as many TVs as possible, which will reduce their chances on getting condemned, and it will literally fuck your plans up. And that's the best way to play Sadako. It's very RNG. I would say that Sadako is an RNG killer, and I can't rely on this killer. Sometimes you will be lucky enough to get 4 kills like 3 times in a row, but sometimes you will get fucked by survivors and it won't be your fault. I can't trust these RNG killers. That's why people hate the pig, for example. Why would you even want to play Sadako when there are better killers that can teleport and they are more reliable, they are less RNG? For example, the Dredge, you can take the Hag, you can take the Demogorgon and place his portals non-stop. It will be much more reliable than Sadako. And yes, Sadako can win you games, especially with the right build, but what's funny is that recently Call of Brine has been nerfed, and in my opinion Call of Brine was one of the best perks for Sadako, so technically this killer got an indirect nerf. But Sadako is a really fun killer, and I wish she had more to her base kit, I would say. I wish she had more to her power, and I would love to see Sadako getting buffed, because I can see potential in this killer. This killer, in my opinion, is supposed to be a good stealthy killer, but at the moment she is not that stealthy, and people who play Sadako but don't play her too often might think like, oh, I'm so sneaky, and then they will be like, what the fuck, how did this survivor know that I'm here? You see where I'm going? That's my take on Sadako. But comment what do you think about Sadako. I will respect your opinion even if it's complete opposite of mine, as long as you respect my opinion. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more DBD content. Ciao.